俺とこそ結婚してや
Hello and welcome to A Day in Film. Today's film in question is Mindgame, directed by Masaaki Yuasa and starring Koji Imada. So I'm not super familiar with Masaaki Yuasa's work. I have seen his most popular film, The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, and that movie is one of my favorite animated movies ever. It's just a really beautiful, stylistically great movie that it's like a comfort movie almost. I could just put it on whenever and enjoy it. And I went into this movie really wanting to like it because I've heard a lot of great things about it. And I am very happy to say that I really love this movie. This movie kind of scratches that same itch that The Night is Short, Walk On Girl does for me. And if you've seen The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, I definitely recommend you watch this one because in a lot of ways they're similar. Like constantly flowing and animation styles with no real rule. Just wacky and just all over the place in a good way. Really upbeat, optimistic stories, that kind of thing. These two movies just share a lot of concepts, but they both feel very tonally distinct in a lot of ways because I think it probably just has to do with the animation style because even though in The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, the animation style is switching around all the time, it's more consistent. It stays kind of within like the barriers. But in this movie, it just absolutely bounces around all the time. There's no real rhyme or reason to the animation ever, really. It's just whatever fits and whatever the animators felt like doing that day, they just do it. And I'm just going to jump right in on that, I guess. That's one of the reasons I liked Mindgame so much, because one thing I really appreciate about animated films is when they really push the limits, like with Across the Spider-Verse, super beautiful, crazy detailed animation, that kind of thing. And that's why I like so many... it doesn't really have to apply to Ghibli so much, but I just really like when animation looks good. As silly as it sounds. I just like it when it's tonally fits, and it, you could tell there was passion behind the pens, I guess. And this movie is just the best example I could probably give of that kind of scenario. Because in every scene, every different animation switch you see, every little detailed bit on the screen is just fits. I wish there were better words for it that I could think of right now, but it just looks so beautiful, and I can't help but just stare at the movie. I don't think I blinked watching this movie. I think to a couple scenes in particular. There are a lot of times in the movie where it cuts to this weird, like, PS2, low polygon, high quality textures kind of thing. And that looks really great. I really like those, like, little zany kind of jumps in animation. When Nishi goes to purgatory or whatever you'd call it, and he talks to God, just seeing God switch animation styles is really great. It's just all these little things that fit so well. And another one that comes to mind is the scene of intimacy between Nishi and Mayon, I think is how you say her name, voiced by Sayaka Maeda. And it's this really beautiful, almost like crayon-colored pencil animation style that just looks so great. And every time they switch the animation, it feels purposeful, and it looks great. There's a lot to praise this movie about, but the animation is definitely the main one. Just the creativity behind this movie is just so otherworldly beautiful that I just loved it. I just loved every second of this movie visually. Story-wise, it's kind of a looser, non-traditional story, kind of jumping around from thing to thing. But there is the main goal of getting out of the fish's belly. So there's still, the movie doesn't feel aimless. It doesn't feel like a bunch of skits mashed together. There is like a guiding thing, but it's that perfect level where it's not too loose, where it feels pointless, but it's not too tight, where it's like the main part of the movie. It's this perfect in-between that I really like. And to do with the story, the characters are excellent. Especially Takashi Fuji's character, the old man. He is, each character in the group plays a different role. They all feel tonally distinct. Nishi is always super upbeat and positive. The old man is kind of it is what it is kind of thing. Mayon is just kind of along for the ride, and Yan's character, voiced by Saiko Takuma, is what it is kind of character. And just seeing the four interact and deal with these situations differently, it's just this great movie. I wish I could say more about it, but it's just so perfect. It just feels like the perfect animated movie, because animation is, in my head, you animate because you can't do something on screen. You know, that's why they were going to use claymation for the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. And that's why they ended up using CGI, because they literally couldn't do a practical dinosaur. And animation like this is the reason I watch animated movies. To see these barriers that shouldn't even exist in animation just be completely pushed to the limits. And, you know, seeing big companies like Disney and DreamWorks kind of streamline the animation process and remove all the creativity out of it, it kind of ruins the whole point of animation for me. And seeing a movie like this where it's just let completely off the reins and, you know, do whatever you want, make it look good, it just feels so satisfying to watch because there's just so much passion in the movie. But I think I've hit pretty much everything I wanted to. The music, I also have to compliment, is really great. The music manages to fit each animation shift, which is just insane to me. Really great music. But now I think that's actually it. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely go check out Mindgame. I think it's on AMC or something like that. It's definitely worth your time. You'd probably enjoy it if you enjoyed any of the movies I've talked about on this channel. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Hope you have a good day, and I will see you in the theaters.